Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Best Damn Marketing Podcast, where we believe messaging plus marketing equals money. Knowing what to say and how to say it is the best way to build your business. I am your host, Hunter Charneski, and we brought back Mitch Alverson third time's a charm, right? The three-peat, triple crown. Here he is.
Glad to be back. Has anybody been on the podcast 3 times yet?
You are the first.
All right. I'm getting the badge for that.
There you go.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll send you something in the mail.
Right.
So I want to keep digging down this hole here on all things websites, because it's, like I said, it's not very often, at least in our industry, that this is talked about so deeply and so eloquently and put in such a simple, practical way of accomplishing what we want to accomplish the way that you do it, Mitch. So I appreciate that. I want to keep going.
You're welcome.
So
yeah.
In episode 1, we talked about the fundamentals. Episode 2, we talked about the platforms, the differences between them, right? And which one you think is the best, right? Now, when it comes to this episode, I want to talk about, well, what the heck do we put on these things?
Yeah. And this, honestly, the other stuff is definitely important. You got to have it. But the words that we put on our website or landing page, for that matter, man, it is critical. It is critical. And that's why guys like yourself are really important, people that can write. I'm excited about talking about this, because this gets screwed up so much, right? Like there's a reason why almost lots of business coaches and marketing coaches, they give away free website audits, or they do free teardowns of websites, because there are so many that are really, really bad. And so, yeah, I think today we can go through some things of what the heck do we put on this website that will keep, your audience from making some of those same mistakes.
The number one thing that I see in this industry, Mitch, and I'm sure you've got a thing or two to say about this, in terms of the problem with the websites that I run into, are that people are boasting about themselves rather than trying to build their business. Yeah. Right? Can you speak a little bit on that?
Yeah, so this is the biggest paradigm shift that I think people need to get when it comes to what they put on their website. So think of it like this, right? You want to position yourself as not as Luke Skywalker, but as Yoda. You want to be the one who's the guide. Don't position yourself as the hero. Now, people do need to know that you know what the hell you're talking about. Mm-hmm. They need to know that you can help them get to the promised land. But if all you ever talk about is yourself, and all we see on the website is a picture of your beautiful body, then, man, that's too much. That's the paradigm shift of, like, I'm not the hero, I'm the guide. I want to be the coach. Just be the coach. And so that's where I think the biggest thing comes in of, like, how do we do that, right? And that's what I think we should get to here is, you need a section on your website that's what we call the guide section, where really you're just speaking, empathetically, and you're presenting your authority. And so one section on the homepage, the guide section, where you speak into your prospective clients' issues and problems, but you also show them, how to get them where they want to go. And you can do that with, if you've got certifications, right? We can put certification logos in that section. We can talk about awards that you've won, that sort of thing. But we do it in a way that's empathetic towards the actual the reader or the prospective client.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not saying, I think Mitch is saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's okay to talk about yourself, but only in a way that helps the person you're trying to help, right? And
100%, yeah.
And only after that's been talked about, right? So talk about them first, right? And then talk about yourself, and only in the ways that you can help them, right?
Yeah, the guide section I'm talking about should be, probably 3 or 4 or 5 sections down the page. Then I would also say, let's, have an about about us page or about me page, right? If you're the coach, a whole nother page, right? It's a whole nother page where you can, again, we're repeating, we're stating, empathetic statements, and we're talking with authority that we know how to get them where they want to go.
So let's talk about the sections on the website. You said so the biggest paradigm shift needs to be coming about 5 or 6 sections down, right? What about the very first thing they see on the website? We talked about maybe episode 1 or 2 about passing the grunt test. What is the top section? What is it called? What needs to go there?
Yeah, so I call this what goes above the fold, right? So you think of the old newspaper term, the main headlines, right, are above the fold. And so above the fold, we do need that. We talked about this, I think, 2 episodes ago. Just the clear statement that passes the grunt test, that tells them exactly how you help them survive and thrive. But then, when people land on a website, their eyes go in a Z pattern from the top left to the right, down to the bottom left, and then across to the right. So what do they see then? The first thing they see in the top left-hand corner should be a clear logo, and maybe a tagline, a clear tagline of how what you do. And then in the top right-hand corner should be a direct call to action. Whatever it is that you want them to do, don't make it learn more, don't make it ambiguous. Tell them exactly what it is that you want them to do. So if you're doing, free consultations, schedule a consultation, something like that, right? But it should be a clear call to action. If you're actually selling something, this is like a buy, landing page that's got a buy thing. Make that your call to action: buy now, or register now, or whatever it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But so that top area is prime real estate. What you don't want to do is clutter it up with a bunch of navigation with all kinds of menus and things like that. Don't do that. Just be clear, have the clear call to action, maybe 1 or 2 other things up there that they can do, the about us or another page on the website, but not much more than that is what I would say.
And in terms of the actual words, right? Are we what are we saying? Is it just like, is it as simple as, what it is, how they get it? Is it really that simple, Mitch, as far as the words on the header or above the fold you said?
Yeah, above the fold. That's the hero statement is what I call it. It has to be crystal clear. What I always tell folks, go to like almost as elementary as you can, right? So if, like in my case, I build websites and sales funnels. And if you go to my website, it's what it says: sales funnels and websites. And so they know immediately, what does this guy do? Oh, he builds sales funnels and websites. That's how he can help me.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever that version is for you, then that's what we need to put there.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. It's a lot like good training, folks. Sometimes, often the simplest solution is the best one. I think it's called Occam's razor.
There you go. I love that.
The next section down, what comes underneath the fold, right? Or underneath the header, Mitch?
Yeah. So a lot of times what we'll guide clients to do is do what we call a value stack. And so typically these come in 3s. So this should be something like, save time, save money, live better. We want to just give them quick hits as to, if they do business with us, these are the big benefits. Whatever the big buckets of benefits that for coaching, it could be, get stronger, get faster, win at life, something like that, right? But whatever the big values are, this goes in a section right below the hero or above the fold, where as I'm scrolling down, first, what have I seen? I've seen very clearly how you help me survive and thrive. And then it's followed with the 3 big, what I call the value stack, the big benefits.
Yeah. And I think that has to go with the overall controlling idea of the page, right? So I'm sure on your page, it's talking about building sales funnels and websites. Okay, well, that value stack needs to be, in accordance with building funnels and websites, right? I mean, if you start talking about something else, you're going to lose them, right? So like
That's right.
We talked about Cisco, on his website, the controlling idea, the promise that he's making is like, hey, he's selling playing time. right? Like we can get you
Yep.
on the field, right? So the value stack that we did for Cisco then literally stacked one aspirational identity or want with the controlling idea on top of one another. So it went earn more playing time, become the starter, never leave the field. Bing, bang,
Perfect.
boom, right? And then it's, oh,
Yep.
okay, well, there's a lot of value in just those 6 words, right? Or whatever, however many words
Yep.
that was. Is that
Yeah.
what you're
And
talking about?
oh, perfect. And think about this, Hunter. If you're a parent, right, and you've got a 15-year-old kid that you know is has killer potential, and you see that, and you're like, this is my guy. This is my guy. This is the guy we need.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep, perfect.
So after the value stack comes what?
Yeah. So any good story is not a good story unless it has a problem. So we have got to talk about our prospective clients' problems. And so this section is what I call the stakes or the problem section. And this is where we go into, whatever it is that's keeping them from getting what they want. And that's what we put in this section. And so you can use words that talk to, whatever the external problem is that's actually keeping them from getting what they want. You can talk about how that thing is making them feel. And then you can also, you don't have to do it all in this one section, but these are definitely buckets of problems, right? You can talk about why it's just plain wrong that they're experiencing this issue. And so, you know, you could use also images of people that are having this problem, so that you can convey this message not only with words but also with imagery. So it's the stakes, and you got to talk about the stakes. If you never talk about the problem, then why do they need you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think if Liam Neeson's daughter doesn't get kidnapped, the movie Taken sucks, right?
Exactly. That's right. That's
Yeah,
right. It never takes off.
right. Yeah, I mean, if you're watching a movie, anybody's watching a movie, right? The next good movie you watch, right? Something bad will happen within the first 5 or 10 minutes, right? And it's usually the sooner the better. Like I always use the Justice League versus Avengers example, Mitch. In Avengers Infinity War, there was a problem immediately in the opening scene, and its name was Thanos,
Yep.
right? But in
Yep.
Justice League, we didn't get introduced to Steppenwolf and until half an hour into the movie, and by then it sucked, right? If you ask
Yeah.
anybody on the street, I'm guaranteeing you that they will have a better chance of knowing who Thanos is, and nobody will know who Steppenwolf is, because Marvel did such a great job at introducing the conflict so soon after the movie began. And that's why we put the stakes section, as Mitch is talking about, so soon. It's the first thing they see when they scroll down, right?
Yep. 100%.
So then what comes after
Yep.
stakes?
Yeah. So after the stakes, again, we're talking a lot about movies and stories, and that's because it works. But in a movie and a story, there'll be this problem. It gets people on the edge of their seat, and then there is an actual resolution to that problem. And so what we want to do in the next section is kind of resolve those problems by saying, here's the medicine, here's the value. It's another sort of value proposition section where we give them the medicine. We say, here's what we do. It is the kind of the here's what we do section, but it's directly related to those problems. Here's how we solve those problems. And in that section, that's where we talk about, the value that they're going to get if they do business with us, and how we can solve those problems for them.
Yeah, and you brought up movies, right? So when the bad guys are out, it's usually dark. When the good guys are out, it's usually daytime. So when there's this constant flipping back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
Eugene Schwartz in this book, right, talks a lot
Ah,
about that with concentration, right? Sort of talking and making the switch: good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, right? And because it's
yeah,
like as Mitch said, it's like a story. We're reeling them in, right? We're keeping them interested, right?
yeah.
So what comes after the medicine section?
Yeah, so this is where, there's a few things we could do here, right? So we talked earlier about the guide section where we speak with empathy and authority. We show them, certificates or logos of maybe people that certificates we've earned, or even logos. Like if we've trained, say we've done training for, I don't know, a local university, or we were on staff at San Antonio Spurs or whatever. we could put those logos there for another authority thing. But I think that from a design perspective, you can kind of break things up. You could use a section to give testimonials. So we could do a slider with client testimonials. There's lots of cool things you could do with this empathy and authority section. So the empathy and authority section should probably go in this area. I'm not going to tell people it's hard and fast, like you have to have it now. But it's going to go either there or it's going to go a little further down the page where, again, you can do multiple things with it. We want to speak with empathy and authority. We want to show them that we know exactly what we can, that we can help them get to the promised land. And you can also use client testimonials in this section.
Yeah, it's all about building that trust, but then also earning their respect as well, right? Because I think the number one question a lot of people are asking, that you talked about the brain in episode 1. A lot of the times when we're seeking new connections, I think one of the number one questions that our brain is asking itself, either consciously or subconsciously, is this person like me, right? And so if you can establish that with a resounding yes in your empathy section, well, now guess what? You just built trust, and now you have to come right back, as Mitch said, right, and earn their respect with some authority, right? Be it testimonials or logos or certificates and things of that nature.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah, and we ended the last episode. We talked a little bit about Google My Business. If you're killing it on Google My Business and you've got a bunch of reviews, you can pull those into your website and just have them sort of streaming in that section. Because more than anything, if you've done a good job up front of being super clear about how you help them survive and thrive, by the time they start reading those testimonials, they're going to be like, how do I give this guy my money? Or how do I give this gal my money? Because they're going to be like, this is the person for me.
Yeah. And so then after this section, what comes next? Let's keep going.
Yeah. So 100%. So you have to have a plan. Let's go back to what we've been talking about, movies. So, when the Avengers figured out, okay, this is how we're going to have to kill Thanos. They essentially had a scene in the movie where somebody said something that was a version of this. Okay, guys, here's the plan. And that's what we want to put on the website. Literally, here's the plan. And now it may be something different for everybody, right? But what we want to do is give them an easy 3-step plan that just gets them to the promised land. Step 1 is we do this. Step 2 is we do this. And step 3 should usually be some aspirational future identity of how we're going to help them get to the promised land. Like for Cisco, it was, I can't remember exactly what we said, but it's some version of like, never leave the field. I think that's what we used.
Yeah. I think it was. But I think it was step 1, schedule a consultation. Step 2, choose your program. Step 3, never leave the field.
Yeah. So whatever that is for your audience, you need to have it. People love a plan. Tell them what to do. Here's what we do. I mean, and I use this example a lot. If you look at the back, and you may know this from a past life, but your audience may not be familiar with a box of Pop-Tarts. But if you look at the box of Pop-Tarts, it literally has step 1, open the Pop-Tart. Step 2, toast the Pop-Tart. Step 3, eat the Pop-Tart. And of course, it's funny, right? And I think they honestly do it for a bit of a laugh, but it's there. Like it shows you exactly what you're supposed to do. And humans love that. Show them what you're going to do, what's going to happen. Yeah,
and I think if I may expand just a little bit, Mitch, I think if you want people to give you their money, you have to make it easy for them, right? The less friction there is with it, the more easily they will be willing to do business with you, right? So if your plan section has 6, 7, 8 steps, right, it's going to be awfully confusing and intimidating for them. Like, okay, well, this seems way too difficult.
Yeah, 100%. And look, I hear this a lot from clients. They're like, well, that seems too simple. We actually do this, and we want to tell them that we're going to do, this in-depth hormone analysis. And I'm like, no, yeah, that may be some really cool stuff that you can do for them. And your process is maybe 13 steps. but we're not going to put that on your website.
No way.
Nobody's going to read that. Nobody's going to read that.
Mhm.
If you've got a really cool hormone analysis thing that you do for, women in their 40s and 50s that can really help them understand how to lose weight, let's put that on another page. But we're not going to put it on the homepage.
Mhm.
It's not going to go in the plan section simply because it just doesn't work. It's step 1, step 2, step 3.
People like threes.
Yep.
So what comes after the plan section, Mitch?
Yeah. So once we've really gotten, really clear, we've kind of shown them how we add value, we introduced the problem. There's a couple of things you can do with the rest of the homepage. You could go back into some value proposition stuff, but honestly, I think that what you're left with as far as real estate, you could probably put what we call a lead generator. Have a section towards the bottom where it's that thing we talked about, I think in episode 1 or 2, where we talked through the other parts of the website stuff, but the lead generator where we're offering them something really valuable just to get their email address.
Mm-hmm.
So if they've gotten down the page and they're not quite sure that they want to, do business with you yet, let's give them something they could take with them, a free PDF that shows them almost everything. And that's what I try to tell folks, really make it valuable, because we know a lot of folks aren't going to go do it. They're still going to need your help. So you can give them a lot of information, almost give them everything, because they're gonna, even if they try on their own, they're gonna get tired and they're gonna think, I should just hire Hunter, and they'll go back and to you. But give them a good, valuable piece of information that gets their email address, so that now we can enter them into the nurture campaign where we're going to send them really good emails that hopefully down the road will convert them into a paying client.
Am I being too reductionist if I say they get in this free value offer that you're giving them, Mitch, that they get the what and they get the why, but they got to pay for the how?
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. You can give them almost everything.
Yeah.
And some folks will take it and try to do it on their own, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it. Between you giving them really valuable information and YouTube and Google, they could probably figure out how to do a lot of it on their own. And there's a certain amount of the population that will go do that. God bless them. Let them go. But most folks are going to need your help, right?
Yeah, I think Don Miller interviewed somebody on the Building a Story Brand podcast a few years ago, and he had talked about his lead generator title just being "How to Sell Your Home in 100 Days," right? And he lays it out for you step by step. But what he was finding was people were like, "Man, I can do it in 100 days, but this is a lot of work. I'd rather just hire you."
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah. All right. So we've made it through. Is there anything else that you wanted to have as far as finishing touches on the website, Mitch, as far as to answer the question, what exactly should be on these things for people in this industry?
Yeah, really quickly. And we, I told them in the navigation not to put a bunch of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
just put the bare minimum up there. So where do we put the rest of it? Well, you could put it in the footer, and that's at the bottom. So if people, if you've got a bunch of pages, like I said, if there's some hormone therapy analysis, if there's this, if there's that, you can have all those other pages, just put them in the footer. Because if people are really interested, they'll scroll down there and they'll find it.
Yeah.
So put that down there. If there is some really cool proprietary thing, or maybe your blog is killer, put the blog up there next to the direct call to action. But the rest of it, let's push it down to the footer.
Yeah. Yeah. So much great advice, so much practical advice, and a lot of the right advice when it comes to websites, because there's a lot of the wrong going on in today's world. Kind of like training for the people listening to this particular podcast, being gym owners, and how frustrated they get with some of the gong shows happening out there in other gyms and facilities and parks or whatever. I want to thank you, Mitch, for coming on. If you guys are interested in offloading this, yes, Mitch gave you the tools over these past 3 episodes, right? You have everything you need to know now as far as what goes into the website, the fundamentals, what platform you should choose, all of that good stuff. If that's honestly overwhelming for you, then get in touch with us, because we absolutely love helping gym owners build websites that actually work, right? The ones that turn browsers into buyers. That's what it's all about. So you can help more athletes, expand your reach, and build a legacy in your area. Thank you so much, Mitch. Where can my listeners find you so if they want to see more about what you do?
Yeah, so b3advisors.org. That's the letter B, the number 3, advisors.org. I'm on LinkedIn. Just search for Mitch or Mitchell Alverson. I'm also on Clubhouse. It's at Mitch Alverson on Clubhouse. I'm going to try to figure out a way to have some of these cool conversations on Clubhouse as well about WordPress and websites and all kinds of things. So
The guy knows what he's doing. He handles all of my website woes, and we would love to work with you on yours as well, so we can get back to doing what you do best, which is growing your gym, building your business, and coaching athletes. That has been another episode of the Best Damn Marketing Podcast, where we believe messaging plus marketing equals money. Knowing what to say and how to say it is the best way to grow your gym.